Good morning, welcome to Asher and Torah Anytime. We are up to Perek Gimel, which is basically really a continuation from the prophecy from the last Perek. So to sum it up, where we were up to in the first prophecy from Yeshayahu was going into Hashem saying, I don't need your lip service, I don't need all of your external frumkeit. What really matters is, are you going to be taking care of the chamutz, the yasoim, and the almana? Are you here for what really matters? In the second chapter, there we went into a new prophecy. It was describing how the world would look like in world peace. What is the world going to look like when all of the nations are going to accept Mashiach, and Mashiach is going to teach the world? He's going to be shofet ben ha'amim, and all of the nations are going to be inspired to turn their swords into plowshares and all of their spears into pruning hooks. And now the prophecy continues, Ki hine ha'odoin Hashem tzivokos. For behold, the Lord of hosts, Meisir Yerushalayim Yehuda Mashenu Mashenu. So here, in the last Perek, he was describing. First he was talking about social justice, and then he went into the world of being haughty. And he was saying that don't get all high and mighty, because tomorrow you may fall flat on your face. So always remember to stay humble. Now he's going, that the result is going to be that Hashem is going to remove from Yerushalayim Yehuda Mashen Umasheno Kol Mishan Lechem. Everything that you rely on, all the support you rely on, you're going to rely on Lechem, Chol Mishamayim. Everything is going to be removed. Giboy v'ish milchama. Mighty and a warrior, a mighty man and a warrior. Shofet v'novi v'koisem v'zoken. And he's describing over here how everything is going to be removed. You're going to have removed all of your sustenance, and you're going to have all of the important people removed. Your warriors, your soldiers, your judges, your prophets. Koisem v'zoken. Koisem is like a sorcerer. Zoken is an elder. Sar Chamishim, leaders of 50. In the Soy Ponim, these are important people who have a beautiful face. They're people who you look up to. There's somebody who has an elevated position. V'yoyetz, advisors. V'chacham charoshim. Chazal say chacham charoshim means Torah scholar, that once he's finished speaking, charoshim, everybody's cheresh, everybody's silent. There's nothing to be spoken any longer. Unevoin lochash are like the Mekubalim. These are the people who know the secrets, lachash, the things that are spoken in whispers. Even those are going to be removed as well. V'nasati na'orim sadeyam, and I'm going to put children as princes. V'sa'alulim yimshlu boy. And pranksters, talulim, are people who make talulim. They make mockery, are going to rule. Chazal say that there's like I think 18 curses here that Yeshayahu described, and it's a Gemara, I think in Chagiga Daf Yudalet, that describes all of the curses, and it says that Yeshayahu didn't rest until he got to these curses of Na'arim. V'niga sha'om ish be'ish. People are going to be oppressed, and the people are going to stand up against each other. V'ish b're'eyu yirhavu anar bazoken.
This is going to happen before Mashiach comes?
This is the end of these prophecies. The lad will domineer over the elders. V'ish b're'eyu yirhavu hanar bazoken v'hanikla b'nichbad, and the base over the honorable. So the Gemara says that when Yeshayahu got to this part, where he was talking about Na'arim Sareyim, where the youth are going to become Sadim, or it's on V'ish Hanar Yirhavu Hanar B'Zoken, that's when he calmed down from all of his curses. So Pashup Pshat is that this is like the same thing like the Gemara says, that when Na'arim Pnei Zekenim Yalbinu, that in the end of days, when we're talking about how horrible the social situation is going to be, is that young people, the youth, is going to stand up against the elders. I saw from Shimon Schwab, it mamish blew me away. He learns it in Skavalt. He says, you know why Yeshayahu Navi calmed down when they got to this part of the prophecy, when we're talking about V'nasatina Arim Sareyem, and we're talking about Yirhavu Anar B'Zoken, not because he was like saying, okay, that's enough, there's nothing left, I can't curse you any longer. It's because when he got to that part where he said that, where he saw in his prophecy that children or young people are going to stand up against their elders, he realized that that's where the Geula lies. The Geula lies that ultimately, and that's something that we can say we see today in today's generation, is that you see how the young people are the ones standing up and saying, we're not happy with the way things are going, we want things to be better, we're going to reclaim our own spirituality, we're going to reclaim our Yiddishkeit, we're going to find ways and pathways how we're going to connect to Hashem. Every single time it's like the Teichacha, every single time all the Chassidic masters, when they read the Teichacha, they experienced extreme blessings, because within the Teichacha lies the secret. The secret of rebirth and regrowth happens when the young people take responsibility over their own Yiddishkeit and they stand up to their elders, not in a negative way, but they're saying, the things you've taught us was mamash gewalt in your generation, and we respect it greatly, but you should know in our world we need a new mahalach in a way that works for us. So that's why Yeshayahu Hanavi calmed down when he got to that part. And he continues on, and he says, V'nigash ha'am ish be'ish, we did that. Ki yithpois ish be'ochiv. It's going to come to a point where a person is going to grab hold of his brother, Beis Aviv, and his father's house, Simla, is going to grab him by his clothing, and he's going to say, L'cha kotzen tiyalanu. Come, I need you to be a ruler over us. We need leadership. V'hamachshela azois tachas yodecha. And take the machshela means take control over the country. We need leadership, we need somebody to rule over here. So really the word machshela is a play on the words mamshala. But instead of being mamshala, it's going to end up being machshela. A lot of times you have a mamshala, you have like in the Israeli government, you have it all the time. They appoint a new mamshala, but it ends up being, instead of a mamshala, it's a machshela. It's something which is a michshel, it falls through. So, Yisa bayoim ahu leimod, and you know what the person is going to say on that day? He's going to say, I'm not going to take an oath, I'm not going to take the rule. I'm not going to be the ruler because I'm not capable. But I don't even have bread in my own house. I don't have any garments I don't have any uniform, any important way to present myself as a ruler. Do not appoint me a ruler over the people. I am not capable of doing it. So basically, the prophecy is saying there won't be real leadership and there won't be who should lead the people. Because Yerushalayim and Yehuda is going to fail. Because their speech and their actions is here to defy his honor, which means the intention of what everyone's doing is not to build up Hashem's honor. The expression of their face speaks against them. And their sins are like Sedoi Megidu, Lo Chichedu, Lo Oile Nafsham Ki Gomlum Lahem Ra. Woe to their soul because they brought evil upon themselves. Imiru Tzadiki Toiv. And he summarizes and he says, Imiru Tzadiki Toiv. Say of the righteous that they are God. Ki Prima Lalem Yechelu, because they are going to eat the fruits of their actions. So he's giving a summary. He's saying that, look, when you're going to live a life of tzedek, which goes back on how he was describing that tzedek means to be there for the disadvantaged and for the poor, and it's about being humble and walking before God, knowing that it's not your, what he said in the last Perek, elilech kesev, it's not about money and it's not about the control that you have, then the result is going to be that you'll eat the fruits of your labor, your fruits of who you are. Oile rasha ra. But woe to the wicked one, ki gemul yadav v'yasaloi, because whatever he's going to, you end up creating your own reality. The tzaddik creates his own peiros, which are fruitful peiros, and the rasha is gemul yadav. This is you end up creating for yourself with your own hands the reality that you live in. Which means, what he's trying to say over here, the prophecy is not that if you're going to do bad, then evil is going to befall you. If you're going to do good, good. He's saying, the way how you are creates the reality of how you are. or how things are. So if you're a tzaddik, meaning you're here for the poor, for the needy, for the downtrodden, you get the message. If you're going to walk humble before God, you're going to realize that all the resources that you have doesn't make you more than anybody else, and it doesn't give you anything, then the reality you're going to live in is a blessed reality. But if you're going to be walking around that it's all about lip service, and it's all about who brings fatter karbanos, and who's going, then you're going to live in your own creation. Ami noikshav me'oilel. Ami noiksav. Ami noiksav. My people are like being dragged along. V'noshe moshlevoy. And women are going to govern them. So this is, in the modern world, they have a lot of, in the modern world, this pasuk doesn't go over too well because it's like chauvinistic, sexist, that Noshim Moshe Boy, like what's the problem that Noshim should be in a leadership position?
It means recipient.
Huh?
It means makabel. People
Right.
are for the take.
Right, that's the Rabbi Yankele, like the Rabbi Yankele story. And van Männer zijn zo wie vrouwen.
Same thing as Lula Mien Shulabam.
Right.
That's the trunk right there. Latuna Dar.
Right, the tunas, right. Even though they're in a position of power, they're still mocking, right? They're still making pinim. So v'nosh l'mosh l'boy, and women are going to govern over you. Ami me'ashrecha, my people who you're supposed to be setting straight, who are supposed to straighten me'ashrecha masim, they're misleading you v'derech chosav bileyu. And the way of your path, they've corrupted. Nitzav l'riv Hashem v'oimed loden amem. So the Lord is poised to dispute and stands to judge the people. Hashem b'mishpat yavai, God is going to come into judgment. Im ziknei amoy, with the elders of His people, v'sarav and its princes. V'atem bi'artem akerem gezelas ha'oni b'bateichem. You devoured the entire vineyard. You didn't give any meiser. You didn't give for the Levites. And gezelas ha'oni b'bateichem, and that which you've taken away from the poor is in your hands. So this is again, these are all metaphors of corruption. It's all metaphors where you're holding people accountable. You've been given so many resources, like we said in the last Pedic, that the city is full of gold and silver, but you couldn't find anything to give to the Levi. You couldn't find anything to support the priests or the Talmidei Chachamim and the people. You figured out how you're going to end up being on top of the game. You're going to get all the tax cuts, and you're going to find all the tax benefits, and you're going to find legal loopholes how you can end up paying how much did Trump end up paying? $750, whatever. Yeah, it's political things, like they released his tax returns and he ended up paying like $750. But that's what you've plundered from the poor. Malcolm Malochem Tidaku Ami. What have you that you oppress my people? Ufnei aniyim titchonu, and grind the face of the poor into the ground. Nu'um Hashem elikim tzivokos. So says the God, the Lord of hosts. And here he goes into a very interesting description over here. It's the biggest fashion description of a woman's fashion, I think, in all of Tanakh, the next psukim, where he goes into great detail describing all of the different jewelry, all of the different clothing, and what was going on on the streets of Yerushalayim. Vayomer Hashem, and God said, Yanki govu b'nos Tzion, because the daughters of Tzion are haughty. V'teilachnu netois goron, and they go with high, they're like, it's like the same concept of wearing high heels, that they're going with like high necks. They're going to make themselves taller. Umeshakre seinayim, and so they're walking with outstretched necks. Umeshakre seinayim, and they put like makeup. They painted their eyes in provocative colors. They're walking with like they're like flirting. They're walking like in a mincing gait. And they strut their feet. Bottom line is they're walking in a way to flirt and be provocative, and they're all make-upped, and they're out to entice. And the Lord is going to afflict the head. Kod means the head, b'noi Tzion, with like scabs. Hashem posein ya'ara. And Hashem is going to bear their private parts. Chazal also say over here that that the woman of Yehuda, this is probably a later state of the Nuah. This is probably already in Achaz's times, when there was already signs that there was impending doom. So the woman would tell Yeshayahu that, like, what's the big deal that we're going to get captured? We'll get captured. The captors will become the wives. Will become the wives of the captors. Like, what's the big deal? What's the big deal if we're here or over there? And that he told them, Vashem Posem Yara, that they're going to have Dam Nidos, and they're going to be that the captors are going to be disgusted to even take them for themselves. By Yom and on that day, Yasir Hashem es Teferes Achasim. He's going to remove the splendor of the anklets. So Achasim is anklets, is jewelry with you put on anklets. Now here, let's go through all the whole fashion, the whole closet. V'hashvisim is bonnets. V'hasaharonim is like a crescent. It's like a crescent type of a pin or something. Hanatifos, that's necklaces. V'hasheros is bracelets. V'harolos is veils. It's like scarf-like colors. Ha'pe'edim is hats. Hatza'ados is armlets.
Things that go around.
V'hakishudim, and those are sashes. Ubote nefesh v'halachashim. So that's like lingerie. And l'chashim is like amulets. So bottom line is, they had, some say that bote nefesh is different types of perfumes. The point is, hataba'os, these are rings. V'nizmei ha'af, and nose rings. What?
The chashim are earrings.
Earrings. V'nizmei ha'af is nose rings. V'hamachalotos. So these are again like robes. V'matofos is shawls. V'hamitpochos is kerchiefs. V'acharitim is purses. Hagilyonim is hand mirrors. V'asidinim, these are
the kumas.
Mirrors.
V'hasidinim, these are linens that I guess they were placed on beds. V'hatznifois, turbans, v'adidim, and scarves. So again, this is a whole description of every single type of detailed jewelry and ornament and adornment that was in those times. And he's going through all the descriptions of how they were all being abused. Basically, it's about how beauty, how objects are all being abused and not used for what it was intended for. So what's going to be the result? Instead of perfume, mak, there would be rat. And instead of the belt, nikvo, there's going to be a wound. And instead of curls, karcha, there's going to be baldness. That means instead of styled hair, you're going to be karcha, you'll be bald. The sachas pesigel. And instead of a sackcloth, machgoyres sak. There's going to be a sackcloth belt. That means you're going to have, instead of a fancy belt, you're going to have a sackcloth belt. Kisachas yoifi. It's going to take the place of the beauty. That means everything that you did in order to make yourself physically beautiful is going to turn into the opposite. B'chlal, that's always the klal, that everything depends upon the intention. And when you kill the intention, that what you try to use to manipulate ends up becoming something which brings you down. Messiah b'cherev, your dead are going to fall by the sword. Yipolu ugvuraseich b'malchama, and you're mighty in battle. V'oni v'avli pisachel, the dwellers of his gates will lament and mourn. V'onu v'avlu pisachel v'nikasa, and it's going to be emptied. La'aretz teishev, and Tzion will sit on the ground. So that's the sachakal of what the result is going to be. L'chaim.